Trinity Moravian Church in North Carolina purchased $3 million of medical debt and then burned it, canceling it all. Mike Ilitch, the founder of Little Caesars, quietly paid for Rosa Parks' rent after learning she had been robbed and assaulted in her home at the age of 81 in 1994. He helped her move to a safer neighborhood and continued to pay her rent until she died in 2005. In 1818, the US began building a fort near the New York-Quebec border to defend against invasions from Canada. After 2 years of construction, they realized the fort was actually on the Canadian side. They abandoned it and named it Fort Blunder. The only tree out of 70,000 to survive the 2011 tsunami. In 2010, 19-year-old Sam Ballard, an avid rugby player, was drinking with several of his Australian mates when a slug began crawling across the concrete patio at his home in Sydney. When his friends dared him to eat it, he did it. Unfortunately, the slug was infected with a rat lungworm disease. He soon fell into a coma for 420 days, and when he finally regained consciousness, he became paralyzed from the waist down. He passed away in 2018 from further complications from the disease. A Soviet poster from 1944 depicting legions of German soldiers fated to die in the Russian winter thanks to Hitler's orders. Beatrice Flamini is said to have broken a world record for the longest time spent in a cave. At 48 years old, she entered 230 feet deep into a cave near Granada, celebrated 2 birthdays alone, without any contact with the outside world, and finally emerged 500 days later in good health and spirits. She said that time had flown by. The color difference between American and European Fanta orange. Chad Vera, a priest, saw a funeral for a 14-year-old girl who committed suicide after having no one to talk to when her first period came, believing it was an STD. He recalled thinking, "Little girl, I never knew you, but I promise you that you have changed my life." He vowed to encourage sex education and to help people who were contemplating suicide. In 1953, Vera founded the world's first suicide hotline. A van contained protest material has been confiscated at King's coronation. A man sued PepsiCo after the company refused to redeem his 7 million Pepsi points for a V8 Harrier jump jet as advertised in their commercial. Jedan Shokai Nyima is often described as the world's youngest political prisoner. In 1995, he was chosen to be the Panchen Lama, Tibetan Buddhism's second highest authority and selector of the next Dalai Lama. The 6-year-old was then kidnapped by the Chinese government and hasn't been seen since. 30 years of sharpening. Population density of the US. Willem Arendeus was a homosexual Dutch artist who bombed the Amsterdam Public Records Office in World War II to hinder the NE's effort to identify Dutch Jews. He was caught and sentenced to doubt. His last words were, "Let it be known that homosexuals are not cowards." One of 3 fake heads used as decoys during a 1962 escape of 3 prisoners from Alcatraz. They were made with soap, toilet paper, toothpaste, and concrete dust. There is a guy that photoshops people who took photos of themselves at Loho Coast memorials and puts them into actual photos from the camps. He doesn't take them down until the person apologizes. Angiogram showing damaged or decreased vascular tissue in the index finger of a yo-yo master. Cute kindness between nations. Turkey just sent Mexico a puppy because when Mexico sent its canine search and rescue team during the earthquake, one of their dogs passed away. Turkey sent them a new puppy as a way to honor the previous dog's legacy. All three women in this 1885 photo are the first female licensed doctors in their respective countries, India, Japan, and Syria. Square donuts have 27% more donut per donut and take up roughly the same space as a round one. Sigourney Weaver testing a flamethrower for the movie Alien, 1978. In 2020, a photo album was discovered in a Belgian thrift shop. Contained therein were over 60 photographs of some of the most well-known Hollywood stars, all happily smiling, having their photo taken with the same woman. The last image of Keith Spassford, a 14-year-old Australian boy who wanted to explore the world, so he snuck to a plane wheel well. It opened in mid-air and the boy fell out. The photographer was just testing his new lenses and was shocked after developing those images. Despite their bulky and heavy appearance, Hippo's subcutaneous fat layers are quite thin. The 2,000 kilogram giant is mostly made up of muscles and 6 centimeters thick seam. This anatomical model by Jun Huan visualizes its muscular structure. A full car found in a house's foundation during renovation works. Australia's Christmas Island has bridges for crabs to prevent them from being crushed under the wheels of cars during the mass migration. Abu Tazan al-Salhi, an Iraqi veteran sniper who is credited with killing over 384 ICE members during the Iraqi Civil War, receiving the nickname Hawkeye. The release from deception by Italian sculptor Francesco Quiralo, or the rope chiseled from a single bulk of marble over 7 years. 1. Apollo 4, 1967. 2. Space Shuttle, 2002. 3. Crew Dragon, 2020. In 2013, a Florida man, Jeff Bush, was sleeping in his bedroom when a large sinkhole opened up directly underneath his bed, swallowing him and his entire bedroom. His brother heard him scream, but was unable to see or reach him in time. Bush's body was never recovered. A herd of African elephants in Tsavo, Kenya, 1950s. 88-year-old Ilda Maciel died after nurses accidentally injected chicken soup into her veins instead of her feeding tube. Hawaiian surfer Hakolana runs across the ocean floor with a 50-pound boulder as training to survive the massive surf waves. This is the Centennial Light, the world's longest lasting light bulb, burning since 1901. It is at 4550 East Avenue, Livermore, California. Mount Roraima is the highest of the Pacaraima chain of Tepu plateaus in South America. First described by the English explorer Sir Walter Raleigh in 1596, its 31 square kilometer summit area is bounded on all sides by cliffs rising 400 meters. Fordite, also known as Detroit Agate, is old automobile paint which has hardened sufficiently to be cut and polished. It was formed from the built-up of layers of enamel paint slag on tracks and skids on which cars were hand spray painted, which have been baked numerous times. There's a century-old mansion hidden directly under the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. Target locking down inventory in San Francisco. Bulk sapphire grapes, a bulk seedless grape with one unusual characteristic. They are long. Look more like a log in shape than a grape. These types of grapes have been grown in the Middle East. This picture is from Syria. Postal worker cooks steak on truck dashboard to showcase inhumane working conditions during extreme heat. Asperitus clouds are rare and resemble rippling ocean waves in the sky. Today's clouds in Gorham, New Hampshire. A 10 megabytes hard drive from the 1960s. One of the libraries that Dean Koontz has in his home. It has 20,000 books, most of which are first editions. He has another library in his home that has 9,000 copies of his own books. Mirror sculptures reflect the forest by Scottish artist Rob Mulholland. The nervous system. That is us. The rest of the body is an organic spacesuit worn by this creature to live on this particular rock revolving around a star. This is the power of an avalanche. 16th century ring that unfolds into an astronomical sphere. Dutch painter Petrus van Schendel, who specialized in nighttime scenes. Coca-Cola cans from the 1930s. Remember these guys from Big Trouble in Little China? Look how healthy they are today. German police officer comforts a little girl after her mother was stabbed by husband in front of her eyes. Left beer in cooler outside. Wife found it. Figured the redid would like this. Strawberry finch. Australian city uses drainage nets to stop waste from polluting waterways. Megalodon tooth found in North Carolina. Tattoo of a wasp done with one continuous line. 75-year-old Taiwanese manages Pokemon catching bike. Richard Lasher was about to ride his dirt bike when Mount St. Helens erupted. He survived. The Solvay Conference, probably the most intelligent picture ever taken. 1927. Filming the train scene in Back to the Future 3, 1990. A breathtaking view of Saturn captured by NASA's Cassini. In Norway, you get a small amount of money for recycling bottles or cans. They are often collected by poor people, homeless, etc. A lot of our trash cans has these holders around them, so people don't have to search through the trash to collect them. The Woman with the Handbag statue, 1985. This picture, which was taken in Våxjö, Sweden, shows 38-year-old Danuta Danielsson smashing her handbag into the head of a near-fascist rally member. A bridge that transforms into a tunnel located in Virginia. The only cloud in the sky passing the moon tonight. Kizay, the only brown panda in the world. This library hung a Dewey Decimal reference sign for everything you want to know, but don't really want to ask. This orca was photographed while chasing a dolphin. It's estimated that orcas can jump between 10 to 15 feet out of the water. At 15 feet, this is one of the highest known jumps ever photographed. The US or Canada borderline cut into the trees, the snow line make it look like it's cut right through. Alex the African grey parrot was the first, and currently only, animal to ask an existential question. Alex could correctly answer questions designed for 6-year-old humans, was able to distinguish 7 colors and 5 shapes, and one day he even asked what color he was. Mount Hood, Mount Rainier and Mount Adams in the same picture. Edge of the world, White Cliffs of Dover, England. A A 1,500-year-old arrow recently found in melting ice. This is what happens when lightning hits the cup and pin of a golf course. Tadpoles swim through a jungle of lily stalks in Cedar Lake on Vancouver Island, Canada. Running out of children due to the low birth rates, a school in South Korea is opening their doors and allowing illiterate grandmothers to enroll so they can also learn to read. During the 1936 Olympics, two Japanese pole vaulters tied for second. After declining to compete against another, Shuhei Nashida won silver and Suooi won bronze. Upon returning to Japan, they cut the medals in half and joined them together to make friendship medals. This is the Swedish warship Vasa. It sank in 1628 and was recovered from the ocean in 1961, almost completely intact. This is the only remaining intact ship from the 1600s. This ship is housed in the Vasa Museum in Stockholm, Sweden. 16-year-old Indian Grandmaster Praggnanandha Ramesh Babu defeated world chess champion Magnus Carlsen, who is a 31-year-old Norwegian chess grandmaster, for the second time in just 3 months. If I birthed 6 kids, I'm gonna get 6 kids out. Supermom Emma Scholl saved all of her 6 kids from their burning home, running room to room, floor to floor. Even though she was bleeding and losing steam, hair burned like coal, she kept going. Emma got 93% burn injuries, yet still survived. A hero. In 1837, in the case of Sutherland v Newton, a British man sued a woman who bit off half of his nose after he tried to kiss her without consent. The judge ruled against him, stating that when a man kisses a woman against her will, she is fully entitled to bite his nose off if she so pleases. Warwick Davis played four different characters in the films. He played the Gringotts bank teller, elderly and young Phileas Flitwick, and Griffock. Here you see a picture of a veteran of the Napoleonic Wars posing with his wife. The man is described as one of the last surviving veterans of the Battle of Waterloo. The receding waters of the Tigris in Iraq led to emergence of a 3,400-year-old city. They found a palace with a wall height of 6 meters, other buildings with multiple floors, clay tablets written in the cuneiform LNG, which they will prepare for translating messages in them, and many other things. I asked an AI to visually represent what it felt like to attend the 1893 World's Fair, the big debut of electric lights. These images are the result. 4 physicists taking a walk. From left to right, Albert Einstein, Hideki Yukawa, John Wheeler and Homi Jahangir Babha, 1954. 78 years ago today on D-Day, June 6, 1944, James M. Doohan of Vancouver led D Company of Royal Winnipeg Rifles ashore at Juno Beach. He would be shot 6 times, survive and go on to become Scotty on Star Trek. Obama sitting alone in a classroom rewriting his remarks before speaking at the memorial service for victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, taken 2 days after the shooting on December 12, 2012. An unaltered image of a rarely captured aerial phenomena called a red sprite, which only lasts a few milliseconds. Credit, Stephen Hummel. When sperm whales need a nap, they take a deep breath, dive down about 45 feet, and arrange themselves into perfectly level, vertical patterns. No one knew whales slept vertically until a 2008 study documented the behavior, and no one captured really good photography of it in the wild until 2017. This toothpaste provides information about the ingredients used, their sources and what they do. Hopefully, that'll be applied to many other products too. Mammatus clouds spotted in Oklahoma. They are pouch-like cloud formations and a rare example of clouds in sinking air. Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space, stroked Queen Elizabeth's leg above the knee during a state breakfast in 1961. The Queen was quite astonished. In 1979, 16-year-old Brenda Ann Spencer was arrested after killing 2 people and wounding 8 children in California. When asked why she did it, her reply was, "I just don't like Mondays." When Bob Geldof read the story, he wrote the Boomtown Rats song "I Don't Like Mondays." In 1974, a man attempted to squidnap Princess Anne. He shot 3 people before telling her to get out of the car. She replied, "Not bloody likely." Jessica Meir is a physiologist, marine biologist, and NASA astronaut who speaks English, Swedish, and Russian. After completing her postdoctoral research, she taught at Harvard Medical School, and she has also studied penguins in Antarctica. She was launched up into the ISS in 2019, and she was one of the first women to perform an all-female spacewalk. After his wife was denied water by upper caste people, Indian labourer Puro Tajan managed to dig her a well in under 40 days and ended up discovering a water source capable of sustaining his entire village. China is spending $3 billion to build panda bear-shaped solar farms in order to get more young people interested in renewable